Emma. I'm a fourth year elementary school drama teacher. Today I will be showing sample lessons that I used for first grade, specifically going over what the lessons are, what I do, why I do them, and I'm also going to touch upon how I do them now with social distancing and to keep everyone safe and so forth. I recently did a video with kindergarten socially distant activities, which I will link below. Hope to continue doing these for every grade level that I teach, which is pre-K through 4. So the lessons that I'm going to be talking about today are for first grade, and they go along with the movie Mary Poppins. It's just what's the freshest in my mind because that's what I'm doing with my first graders right now at this moment. So for every grade that I teach, I do one film study a year. Standards, no matter what state you teach at, a main component of our standards is to have kids react to works of theater and to react to performances of other actors, of professional actors, to react to performances from different time periods. So movies are a great way to do that. I also once in a while, of course, show them small little clips of things, and but the cool thing about a movie is kind of like a book. We teach kids how to follow a story, how to go over character, how a character changes from the beginning of a story to the middle to the end of a story. I'm a pretty nerdy person when it comes to movies, so it's literally not put on a movie and I do work on the computer or I just do it to keep the kids busy. It is a very active thing in my classroom to watch movies. We stop the movie a lot. We'll do lessons in between, or Mary Poppins, which is technically a kid's movie, but it goes with first grade. But even Mary Poppins, it's not like an animated movie. It has a lot of adult themes. It has a lot of adult language and vocabulary, and they're British, and adults enjoy it all the time. So I really have them pay attention to the plot, to all the characters, to how the characters are feeling in any given moment. It's really an active experience, and a lot of times I find myself having to explain a lot of things because we don't realize how much I don't want them to miss any key moments of the plot, if that makes any sense. So I probably annoy them sometimes by stopping and talking about the movie too much. But you know what? That's what film study is. So the reason why I love to use Mary Poppins for my first grade curriculum is because first grade focuses a lot on imagination and imagining yourself in different locations and as different characters. And Mary Poppins is all about that. It's all about imagination. Even when you're doing the day-to-day, like cleaning a room, or when you're jumping into pictures, Mary Poppins is all about creating an imaginary world in the everyday, and that it just really works with the first graders, and they love it. And also, you'd be shocked at how many of the little kids have never seen the first Mary Poppins. Now that the second one has come out, a lot of them just know that one, or they don't know either. I feel like I grew up thinking that everyone knew Mary Poppins, but I feel like we've hit a point where a lot of kids don't, so it's not one of those things that I'm showing them a movie that they all know. I think most of the time there's 1 or 2 kids per class that know what Mary Poppins is, and the rest of them don't. So that's another reason why I love doing these film studies, is because I try to choose movies that are not movies that they're seeing right now. It's not movies that came out anytime recently. They're older movies. They're movies that I think are really important for just humans to know, that'll help with cultural literacy, movies that come up in day-to-day conversations. So Mary Poppins is definitely one of those classic films that I think every kid should watch. And I love these film studies is because kids remember them all the time. Like older kids will be like, oh, it's like Mary Poppins, and they'll get excited and they'll respond to something, or someone will say, ooh, I saw a movie and it had the same actress, that was Mary Poppins. Like, they'll remember that kind of stuff, and that makes me really excited. I'm going to talk you through how I do the film study. The first thing that I do, I start classes for the smaller kids with a question of the day. I used to use a microphone, but I don't anymore, of course, because of COVID. So this year I've been using a wand, and I just point to the kids and we say Fal-de-ral and Fiddle-dee-dee, which is a reference to Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. And every day it's a different question, and it always has to do with whatever we're doing that day. To talk about characters. Are they able to follow a story? story? Are they able to describe their opinions? So I use the questions of the day to hit those every day, because if they come into a class, the first question we can talk about whatever we watched the class before. So far my favorite part of Mary Poppins is, and they have to answer. So far my favorite character is, and then you can even push them if you want and say, okay, why is this your favorite character? You can say my least favorite part is. Who is your least favorite character? Sometimes I get really into it, like my favorite power that Mary Poppins has is, or my favorite trip that she's taking the kids on is. And it's just a nice little check to make sure that they know what's going on in the story. And it's really fun to actually get to know their opinions. A lot of times, especially when I ask them what their favorite part is, I always feel like I think I know what they're all going to say. And some kids will like surprise me and say something that I wasn't expecting. Like one kid said, my favorite part is when Mary Poppins gave them medicine and the medicine happened to be their favorite flavor and everyone's medicine was different. I'm like, oh wow, that's really cute. Like I never think of that as one of the favorite parts of that movie, but that kid really enjoyed that part. So it's really cute. So like I said, I'm very nerdy with these film studies. So I usually, before we even watch them, I introduce them to the characters, I introduce them to the plot, and that's really important, especially in a young age. I know for adults it seems really simple, but this helps with literacy as well, just getting them into the idea of a plot. What is a plot? What is a story? What is a setting? Beginning, middle, and an end. How do you keep track of characters when there's multiple characters? And I just feel like it's a very natural way to get them into that. And I would hope that it would help them when they're reading stories too, just to get used to following a story and following different characters. First Mary Poppins lesson I'm going to show you is called Jumping Inside a Picture. I'm pretty proud of this one just because it's one of the lessons that I came up with all by myself. A lot of my lessons, which I feel like we should be sharing lessons just because you don't want to reinvent the wheel. We're so busy. There's so many resources out there. So a lot of my lessons come from other teachers. They come from things I learned at grad school. They come from cooperating teachers that I student taught for. But this is one of the lessons that I came up with all by myself, and I was pretty proud of it just because it was really successful right away. This year I turned it into a virtual lesson just because it worked really well in the virtual format. Right before Thanksgiving we did go virtual for a few days, and this happened to be what I was up to in my curriculum anyway, and it worked out really nice as a virtual lesson. And also, if you guys have been following me, on Wednesdays my school is all virtual, and I do a drama club. It's an optional drama club that kids can join on Google Meet, and I did this lesson with them as well, and it totally worked even without the movie. Just before they knew anything about Mary Poppins, it worked on a standalone lesson too. So if it's not something you want to do in relation to Mary Poppins, this lesson works in general by itself. Like I said, let's jump inside of a picture. If you know Mary Poppins, one of the best parts is when she and the kids and Bert end up jumping inside of a chalk picture. What I would do is I would tell the kids, usually I would do it right after I show them the part of the movie where Mary Poppins jumps into a picture. Like I said, if you're not doing it in correlation with the movie, I would just explain something right before. So I'm like, oh my goodness, so Mary Poppins has this amazing power that she can jump inside a picture. And in the movie they're standing and she goes 1, 2, 3, and they jump and they're in the picture. So I have all the kids stand and I have them close their eyes. And I have this up on the big smartboard. And I'll say, okay, so we're going to close our eyes. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, jump. And when you jump, open your eyes and look at the smartboard, and you'll see what picture we've jumped into. So we close our eyes, and I go 1, 2, 3, jump. And the kids jump, and they look, and they all get really excited. We're at the pool! And I ask them, what are things that we can do at the pool? And then I usually get people raising their hand. Oh, we can swim, we can dive. I try to push them to be a little bit more creative rather than just saying swim. Oh, what kind of swimming strokes can you do? Oh, is there a lifeguard there? Is there someone watching the swimmers? Are you learning how to swim? Just so that it gets more creative and we get more full scene of what a pool actually looks like. Everyone's doing different things, and we take turns acting out all of these ideas that people are giving us. And then I say that they can pick whichever activity they want. They can pick multiple ideas, but we're just going to turn our classroom into the pool. So they all just start doing the activities that they prefer to do at the pool. And all of a sudden, our classroom is a pool with all of these first graders doing all these amazing things that they like to do in the pool. Something I did is I embedded a YouTube video and just made it really small, and I added sound effects so that once the kids are acting things out, I can press it. Hopefully an ad doesn't pop up. There we go. And if you can hear it, it sounds like water, and the kids get really excited, and it's easier to imagine that our entire classroom has become a pool. Hopefully the sound doesn't make you want to pee. But yeah, so that's that. 1, 2, 3, jump, we're having a dance party at the beach. 1, 2, 3, jump, we're at a baseball game. 2, 3, jump, we're having dinner. What I like about this one is that it's a really nice, calm one, because the last one's like, they're really active. They're playing baseball, they're running, they're dancing, they're swimming, but this one is a nice one to get them to calm down, because it is honestly a tiring game, and about a famous American painting, but it's a nice calmer, just because we're sitting at a table, it looks like a fancy dinner. How do you behave? What are your table manners? So something you can do is you can do this really purposefully. You can like do every other, like one of them being a very active location, and then one of them being like a quiet, like a library or something like that, to get them to act out something more calm. 1, 2, 3, jump, we're in a carnival. I think this is their favorite. They absolutely lose their minds. I like the sound effects for this one. Hold on. Super cute. This is my little nod to a musical called Sunday in the Park with George. It's a famous painting as well, but I just like having that little reference in there. And it's a nice park, but it's a different park than the carnival. It's like a calm park where we can be rowing boats. We can be sitting out by the grass. We can be the dog. We could be the lady. We could be anybody. And it's just really cool. Sometimes I ask them to pick out a certain character and try to give that character a backstory. What is that person doing? Or they can make up their own of what they can insert themselves in the picture. And what would you be doing in this park? Elephants in the zoo. That gets really fun, where they all become different zoo animals. Playground. I think that's the last one. Yeah. So it's a really, really fun game. Like I said, this could be adapted in so many ways. One time had this cool idea, I haven't done it yet, but to adapt this game to like go over how we behave in different parts of the school. Like, okay, when we go over what's our indoor voice, what's our outdoor voice, oh, show me how you behave in the playground, now show me how you behave in the hallway, show me how you behave in the library, show me how you behave in the gym. So cool. So it could be just a nice way to teach how you behave in different locations. So I really love this lesson. The kids love it. And like I said, this year I did move it to a virtual setting, and it worked just as well, because I just shared my screen on Google Meet. We would jump, and it was really cute to see them do all the activities in their own house and like jump around and get moving, because I know when they're doing virtual school, they're sitting looking at the computer for a long time. So this lesson was a fun way to get them to stand up and move. If I was doing this lesson in person in a classroom during COVID, I would do what I usually do for movement activities now. I have these little markers on the floor, and I just have the kids stay in their spots. 2, 3, jump, and they could just act things out in their own spot and just never leave that spot, so that they could move but still be distanced from each other. And I would just make sure that all the spots were visible from the smartboard so that they could all see the pictures that I was putting up. Something else you can always do if you're ever doing a film study with little kids is, especially if it's a musical, obviously, you can have a sing-along afterwards. After you're done watching it, the kids love that. It's just like a fun, nice lesson to get them to remember parts of the story and sing along. And something else I do with Mary Poppins is I teach them a dance to get them more active as well. If you guys know the song Step in Time, it's a really fun song to teach little kids a dance to, just because it kind of has directions in the song. It would be like, kick your knees up, step in time, pick your knees up, step in time. Like, it's really, really cool. Like, over the rooftop, step in time. I have them do a jump or stuff. Like, it's one of those really fun active dances, and it gets them moving. You can do it in the middle of the movie if you want to pause it and get them moving, or it could be a separate thing, but the kids absolutely love that dance. And then at the very end, the last lesson I do in this unit is, if you guys know the song Let's Go Fly a Kite, it's at the very end of the movie. I have the kids make their own kites, and it's super cute. This is my really quick way of making a kite, just because I do only have the kids for 25 minutes, and I don't, even when I had them for 50, I usually didn't have a lot of time for this lesson, because I didn't want the lesson to be its own full thing, because it wouldn't take 50 minutes. So whenever the movie finished, if we had time left over, I would be like, okay, let's do this real quick, and it would be like a really cute, quick art activity for the kids. So usually what I do at the very beginning is I'll like Google image kites, and I'll show them different pictures of different kinds of kites, just to give them ideas, because sometimes that helps, just to make sure that not everyone does the same kind of kite. And for that, the kids color in a white paper. I try to encourage them to fill it all in, because it's all going to be one kite. If you're more type A than I am, you can cut the paper in a more diamond shape. I literally just have them do it with white paper and then turn it and tape a popsicle stick to it. I'm sure if you're more artsy, you could use string, you could do something more intense. Like I said, I just wanted something really quick that I could do the very last lesson of Mary Poppins. If the movie wasn't going to take up the whole time, when the movie's over, this would be a nice, cute way to end the lesson. So they color in their kites. I show them examples of kites. I show them images of different kinds of kites to get them more creative, so they don't all think that a kite has to look a certain way. Kites can look like animals. Kites can have patterns. Kites can just be one color. Kites can be the flag of a country. It could be a bunch of different things. So the kids just color it in, and then when they're done, I help them stick a popsicle stick on the bottom. And honestly, it looks really simple, but the kids love it. They love it way more than I thought they would. The first time I did this lesson, I was like, I don't know, I'm just gonna do it, and if they think it's dumb, I'm not gonna do it again. But the kids all loved it. I'm sure the teachers and parents hate me, because when they take it home, it's a really awkward shape. How do you put this into a backpack or anything? But the times that I do it, I see the kids at the end of the school day, they're holding on to it for dear life. They want to take it home. They love it. So it's really cute how into this they get. And if you want to be super cute, which I've done a couple of times, is if you have time after the kids have made their kite, I play the song, I play the scene from Mary Poppins again, and we like stand up and act it out, and I have them all going, let's go fly a kite, and it's the cutest thing. Like, you don't even know, little tiny kids with their kite singing the Mary Poppins song. It's like, it's my favorite way to end that unit, just because it's a nice, like, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Said these can work well in a non-COVID regular classroom world. I showed you the jumping in the picture lesson. That could be a standalone lesson just for virtual setting. Let's go fly a kite could be a cute art project. You could also do it in your classroom socially distanced with my markers like I had on the floor. So a bunch of options if you're like me and love doing film studies for your kids, and Mary Poppins is a special one for you. Like I said, I love it. It really works well with the first grade curriculum, and the kids love it too. Alright, so I will be back soon with more sample drama lessons. I think I'm just going to go in order. So next up is second grade. Not sure what lessons I'm going to show you for that, but I hope you enjoyed this, and have a great day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!